sort of the line of scrimmage, so to speak, is making the proper adjustments. And we've talked so much about Woody and Trent all season long, and just the job they do and how they prepare our guys. And we talk about how hard our guys work, and they're willing to make the adjustments, and that's really where it all comes down to it. And I know these guys will do it, and making quality strikes in the zone, getting ahead is the key. And once I think we've done that to some degree, and when we haven't, then we've been able, they've been able to take advantage of that. So, we continue to make adjustments, and I know our guys will be able to do that, and they've done it all season long.
We'll stay in the front with Mike.
Dan, at the plate, given the last couple of games, where are you at with the state of the offense, the at-bats being taken, and the adjustments that you have to make here for Game 5? Yeah, I mean, I think again, yesterday we were able to get some guys on, not able to get them in consistently. I think, when we're at our best, we're grinding out at-bats one after the other, and seeing a lot of pitches, and getting deep into counts, and making that pitcher work, and drawing walks, and whatever we can do to get on base. And I think that's where we're at, and that's where we need to continue to do, and find ways to do that more consistently. And then once we do that, being able to get them in. And, we have hit some home runs in this series, which has been good. But again, to have a more consistent offense, it takes, I think, hitting home runs as well as sort of scoring traditionally, and that's when we're going to be at our best. So being able to do both is where we need to get to.
Go to the second row, middle, Shannon.
Dan, how has Brian Wu been prepared to come out of the pen, and what was kind of his input in that as well? I know he did actually relieve a lot in college.
Yeah. I think, again, just, learning from other guys, being down there the last couple nights, and understanding the ins and outs of it, having done it in the All-Star game. I think there's some experience there to draw on. But until it happens, I think, that's when it'll really work for him. But I think he's going to be as prepared as possible. And whether that happens today or in Game 6, that remains to be seen. But I know Brian, and I think at the end of the day, you need to be prepared physically for sure, but also mentally, and that's where he's really thrived this year on the mound, is just that mental side of things, and I know he'll be in the right spot when he gets out there.
Go over on your right here, Curtis.
Dan, we know the potency of Toronto's offense when they get going. I think it's 29 hits over the last 2 games. When you look at the collective of that, a lot of extra base hits, hard hit balls, what are you seeing from the pitches they're getting to? Is there lacking execution that you guys are seeing? Like, where is it coming from in your mind that the hits are kind of piling up against you at this stage?
I think, when you're able to do some things offensively as they have, they've hit some pitches that were on the plate, and we talked about that a little bit. They've also hit some pitches, that were good pitches, that they were, able to get to and put into play, and that's what that team does. And, they've done a little bit of both, and they've been able to put together a more consistent approach than they were able to do in the first couple of games of the series. So, our objective is to continue making good pitches, getting ourselves into good counts, getting weak contact when possible, and striking guys out when possible. So that's going to remain the same, and our guys are going to be able to execute that going forward.
We'll go back to the middle, Taryn.
Today, you guys, last couple days, you had to face Bieber and Scherzer, who you hadn't seen this season. Now you're back to Gausman, who you've already seen. How can that, in this postseason, when you guys have faced pitchers you've already seen, you've managed to get the better of them, execute the game plan better? How do you think that could help you guys today?
Yeah, I think that is helpful for sure, and our guys have learned from the first time facing him in Toronto, and obviously with his repertoire, a lot of sliders to the righties, a lot of splits to the lefties, and I think getting him up in the zone is going to be a key for us again today. We talked about it the last time, and making him get in the zone and hopefully finding a mistake there and doing damage to it. So, again, that familiarity is super helpful in game planning. It's super helpful in their preparation as they get ready to, get in the batter's box. And I think we'll be in good shape offensively today.
Go in the front, Mike.
Dan, it's often said that you turn the page after a loss, and guys tend to be compartmentalized here in this game. But given the gravity of this situation, how big is the clubhouse measuring this game, and how do your veterans set the example?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, this is very emblematic of where we find ourselves a lot during the season, and it's a 2 out of 3 series at this point, and we've been successful a lot of times in a 2 out of 3 series. I think our guys, they know what it takes to fight from this position. And that's been a sort of a key to our entire season. Really has just been their ability to be resilient, to fight back, to fight hard, and fight from inning 1 to 9. And that's really going to become front stage and center here these last several games. And I'm comfortable, and I think they're comfortable in that environment as well.
We'll go on the back left, David.
Hey, Dan, Gossman obviously has a great splitter, but across the whole sport, the percentage of splitters is way up this postseason. In general, what makes that pitch so tough for hitters to attack? And do you remember who had great splitters when you were playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you think about a splitter, it's unpredictable in a lot of ways. It's sometimes, depending on whose splitter we're talking about, it can act a little bit more like a knuckleball where you're just not sure where it's going to go. You see catchers having trouble even catching it. So sometimes it's, so the unknown, of how it's going to break. It's a strike to ball pitch. It starts in the zone and breaks down below the zone. That makes it difficult. It's a tough pitch to do anything with if it's executed at the bottom of the zone. It's a tough pitch to get in the air and hit hard. So, it's a good pitch, no question. But again, I think that's kind of shows the importance of getting one that's up in the zone and being able to handle it there. And if you can do that, I think then you're going to be able to have some good success.
Anybody else for Dan? Go in the front row on the left.
Hello, Dan. Alejandro Llegas from Source, Venezuela. What did you see from Leo Rivas during the season and during this postseason that made you put him again today in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, Leo, during the season and even in this postseason, just the quality of at-bats that we've gotten from Leo have been, just outstanding, and really both sides of the plate. He hit some big home runs for us since coming back up in September. Left-handed, big, a huge pinch hit base hit in Game 5 from the right side. So, he has really swung the bat well and just, put up good at-bats, found his way on base. And then the defense that he plays, he's so versatile on the infield, whether it's second, short, he could even play third. He's played everywhere, even had to play in the outfield one game. So he's a guy that gives you a lot of versatility, and his defense is outstanding. So, what we've seen from Leo has been awesome, and just his approach to the game, how hard he works, how he enjoys playing, and it's been good to have him in the lineup.
Anything else for Dan? All right. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
Sweet, thank you.
We'll have Edgar Martinez in here at 11:40.
Is that right? That's what we're doing. Where? Still doing all this. Yeah. Sick.
same mindset they brought here.
for you?
Good morning.
Everything good? Very good. Glad to be here. Thanks.
JC?
How are you? Good. How are you? Very good.
What's your energy level?
Good. Great. Holding us 100%.
This is a lot easier than
That's what the schedule our kids have at home. This is a vacation, man.
how many kids you have?
3.
Oh, it's a 1-year parent, 2-year referee, 3-year counselor.
There you go. Sounds about right.
I got 2 right now.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun. They're just hitting ages where it's in a great way, you know.
How old are they?
13, 10, and 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm right behind you, 10 and 7.
Yeah. They will skate.
Casual. Yeah, funny because the day I should go and play baseball, my oldest plays travel.
Cool.
But he was originally in the Edward Silvertips the skate program. He was like 4, had a good stride, and all of a sudden, boom. He just got shut down for 9 months.
Yeah.
And for a 4-year-old, that's eternity away.
That is.
So he meandered toward grass sports, like the fun baseball.
Yeah, there you go.
So they're hockey.
All sports are great today.
Yeah, right.
So.
Teaches them balance out there. A lot of in the action. Nice to be honest. And my 7-year-old wants to play, but he's changed his mind within a week and a half.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like for the cost, I was like, let's keep this going for about a month. We'll talk. That was my
Probably helped out the sun.
Oh, that was
Oh, the ones that, yeah. Is your favorite coffee shop? What's your favorite?
There's a Guam Coffee Company in Building Village, and there's a Guam.
Okay. Okay.
So this whole farmhouse. Bought all these farmhouses. They were all destroyed. They put all in this village. Created this village and restored each one. And now there's a business in every one.
Wow.
Like a couple ladies stores, really nice stores called Lucky View, all the big things. Big coffee shop, there's a couple restaurants.
Wow. What's the restaurant? What type of food is the restaurant?
There's an Italian restaurant, steakhouse.
Oh, wow.
A Welland table, which is a farm to table.
Okay.
Right opened it up 8 years ago.
Cool.
Arrangements for the local farmers, fresh lamb, beef, chicken,
Wow.
vegetables, even liquor beer. Solid
That's really cool. We'll have to go out there. Okay, Gilman Village. I'm sorry? Dan went earlier, and so Edgar's next. Edgar's next, yeah.
Hey, puppy, how are you? I'm doing great.
Our dog will eat carrots.
I'm in the right place?
Yes, sir. Get everybody situated here. All right, we'll get started with Edgar Martinez. Who wants to lead off? We'll start with Taryn in the front.
Edgar, for you, obviously being involved with this team for the last 1.5 years in your role, but also just the history you have with this team. What's been the emotions like for you just seeing this team be at this place that you've been at several times in your playing career?
Yeah, it's been incredible run, and it's a great feeling to see this team doing what it's been doing, and it's just very, very special to see what's going on. This is the first time that we are in this situation. Like, we've been in the American League Championship Series before, but this time we have 2 wins and 2 more to go. So it's a great feeling, very special.
Go back to Rick on the left.
Edgar, 30 years ago, you had the base hit, the walk-off double to win the American League Division Series against the Yankees. 30 years later, you saw Jorge Polanco with the base hit to win in the bottom of the 15th inning. Did that bring back from flashbacks for you? And what was it like for you to see that 30 years later, to have Polanco get that base hit?
Yeah, it's been so similar, the 1995 and this year, September, it looks very similar. The way we played in 1995, chasing the Angels, and this year, Houston, and we're in this situation. And then we have Polanco, his performance this year, in driving the winning run against Detroit to advance to the American League Championship Series. So similar. And it just brought those memories from 1995. And we just hope, that we go even farther this year.
Go to Brian in the middle.
Edgar, you get to see how these players prepare now. What of their tools or technology do you think would have helped you the most when you were a player?
I think that the amount of information that is available, not only in the data about pitchers, but also how the video is used this year, the technology that it's been used to analyze the swing, the pitches. It's pretty amazing what all that information. It will be very helpful when I play. We have to rely on those years what you you see, and it's pretty amazing the amount of information and the technology that it's being used these days.
You think you would have used it?
Yes, I would.
We'll go to Shannon on the left back there.
Edgar, Jorge Polanco has credited you quite a bit with what he has done this year and really understanding the approach and committing it to it. What is some of the work that you've done with him, and how have you seen that play out in what he has done?
Well, I think that what Polanco have done is pretty amazing, and credit to him. He made some adjustments with his swing during the off season. If you see him in last year, he was open with his stance. This year, a little closer. His hands, since they are in different positions right now, he's very short to the ball and more direct to the ball. And that's all him. He's very good at knowing his swing and knowing what he needs to do to improve it. And all the things that I talk to him and to the rest of the guys, it's about the approach and the planning and things like that. But his swing, he knows it very well, and he can make adjustments from one at bat to the next. And that's all credit to him.
Go to Kate on the left.
With the technology and all the data, you had an interest right early on in technology and computers and that kind of analytical mind. Not everyone has that. How do you help sort through the information that is available for players? Because sometimes there can be information overload, right?
Yeah.
And how do you tailor that message to each of the hitters? And they've made so many improvements since you've been here. What do you think it is about your message that resonates with the hitters?
I think in part it's to simplify it. Hitting can get very complicated when we have too many thoughts. And we perform better when things are simple. The simplest you can do it is just see the ball, hit the ball. What they told us when we were little leaguers. But some of the information that we use it's about tendencies, what the pitcher, their pitcher's tendencies, how they pitch with men in score position versus, nobody on base, and things like that, and how they're pitching to us as hitters. Because they pitch differently to Cal than to, Randy, for example. And when we know that information, it's very helpful. So Kevin does a great job, with the hitters, sorting out all these tendencies and the type of pitches they have and how the pitch moves, and things like that. So that's what we're trying to, in a way, to simplify it for the hitters.
Edgar, we'll go on the right to Tyler.
Hey, Edgar. Cal Raleigh has been a productive player his whole career, but how did he go from being a productive player, solid, to a historic 60-homer season? What was the difference?
Cal, he knows the league better now, and the last couple of years he's still kind of knowing the pitchers, the league, and now he knows his swing so much better. He makes adjustments. He's know how they pitch into him, and he can make an adjustment also from one at bat to the next. So he's growing, keep growing as a hitter. His potential to his homer has always been there. He's just a power hitter, but now he's a good hitter with power. If you see him, he might get full with the pitch, and he makes adjustment when he gets full, and if the pitcher made mistake with that pitch, he take advantage of it. Mechanically, he has done a really good job at improving his mechanics, and he just it's been a lot of fun to watch him. And his temperament is really stable. He don't get too high, he don't get too low, and he just keeps getting better.
What are some of those mechanical adjustments that he's locked in on this year to improve?
I think he's much better staying behind the ball, and especially from the right side. He's staying behind the ball really well, and that's make a difference, especially from the right side.
We'll go over to Adam on the left.
What's it been like for you to see Dan in this role, be in the dugout with him every day, and how have you seen him kind of grow into his role as a first-time manager?
I know that Dan, always since we played together, he's been a great leader. His ability to communicate with players. As a catcher, he did an amazing job communicating with the pitchers when he played. And his skill always been there. Very positive mindset. And I think that communication skills, it's been great for the team. So it's been really fun to be there with him during this last year and this year. I mean, he just keeps getting better as well.
We'll stay on the left, front row.
Edgar, buenas tardes para Sports Venezuela y toda Latinoamérica. Hablabas del recuerdo de ese postemporada del 1995, además de ese batazo en la Serie de División. ¿Qué otros recuerdos tienes? ¿Y qué crees tú que tienen estos Marineros de Seattle del 2025 para avanzar para la Serie Mundial?
Muy similar la temporada del 95. Los recuerdos que tengo del 95, pues todo lo que pasó en el mes de septiembre, bien similar lo que pasó en el mes de septiembre este año con el equipo. El equipo, igual que el 95, este equipo tiene un gran deseo de ganar y de llegar a la Serie Mundial y de ganar la Serie Mundial. Y tiene un núcleo que es bien similar al que teníamos en el 95. Varios peloteros que han estado juntos por 3, 4, 5 años. Y eso pues ayuda mucho al equipo. Todo ha sido bien similar en 95 y este año.
We'll go to Taryn in the front.
Edgar, there's been so much talk among the players of just the synergy between you, Kevin, and Bobby. With the way the last 2 games have gone, is it just for the hitting staff continuing to preach, staying true to who you are, just making those adjustments where you have to, or is there a point where the hitting staff identifies something and maybe interjects a little bit, whether it be individually with players who are slumping or just kind of a wholesale lineup advice?
Yeah, I think it's the message continue to see the same what we have shared with the players throughout the year. You know, it's been the last 2 games I believe that the Beaver and Scherzer had pitched really well. I mean, credit to them. They made pitches. The first inning for Beaver he didn't have the great command like Scherzer yesterday, the first inning. But the second inning, you know, they both found their secondary pitches and make great pitches. So our team always has been able to make adjustments, and that we just hope that today is that day that we make adjustments and take you know, advantage of mistakes. But the message continues to be the same, and we will have a meeting today, and we will talk to them about you know, what we need to do to win today.
We'll go a few more here, quick ones, Mike.
We were talking about Cal earlier and the fixes with him. Where have you seen Julio take the biggest steps from the All-Star break that have made him ready here for this month?
Yeah, he also made some adjustments. with his position of his hands, and he still is, more short to the ball, and his approach has been great, in the second half, and the skill that he has, he's have great tools. It's just a matter of time for him. So his mentality is always very positive. He comes ready to play it every day. And, it's been fun to watch the last second half of the season. So he's just a very talented player.
Go on the back, top.
Edgar, when you were playing with Dan, did he come across as one of those players that one day would become a manager? And did you ever think that you guys would be coaching together, 20 years after you guys played together?
I believe that he's always had that potential and help to be a great manager. But coaching together, I didn't see that. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun last month, last year, and obviously this year. But yeah, it's just I didn't know that I was going to be coaching, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Go to Tim on the left.
Edgar, you kind of just touched on it there for a second, but what has been different for you personally coaching this time around versus when you previously were working as a hitting coach here, now that you've gone through it for a season plus a little bit?
Yeah, this year I think that the players are, the core is more mature. When I coached in I think it was 16, 17, we had more of veteran players. They kind of knew more. They knew themselves a lot more. Guys like Cano and Cruz. Those guys were more veterans, just mature hitters. And at that time, it was pretty much easy because they knew what to do. This is a younger team with a lot of talent, many skills. They have a great desire to win. Obviously, very talented, and they're very close. And great group of guys. And it's a joy just to be part of it. And you see that core is staying together. Have a great potential to go all the way. And when you, as a coach, you see that in your mind that this can happen, it's exciting to come to work with these guys.
Go on your right, Edgar. Tyler?
Edgar, you talk about a chance to go all the way, and obviously we all know that this team hasn't had that chance since you were playing, 95, 2000, 2001. What is it about this team that is the one that has been able to get this far? What makes this team so good, so special?
If you see the pitching that we have, starting pitching, relievers, the defense, the skill set, the guys can steal bases, they can hit for power, they can pitch. That's a lot of ingredients to win all the way. And when you stay healthy, which health is a big part, obviously, but it's just all the ingredients are there, and they've been playing together for a while. They mature enough to be at a level that can go all the way. I think I just feel that all the ingredients are, the team have all the ingredients to win.
Edgar, thank you very much for your time coming in.
Thank you.
we doing? Good. How you doing? Hey, Addison. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. I'll get over here. All right, Ernie and Addison, thank you guys for making the time. Appreciate it. Ernie, love the jersey. Great stuff. Who's got the first question? We'll start with David on your right, guys.
Hey, Ernie, the other night after the game, you said in the clubhouse, you called yourself the worst hitter in baseball a few years ago. What have been the adjustments? I'm looking at the metrics, and it's nothing obviously stands out. I know, like, your in-zone contact rate is up. But what has been the key to your last 2 years?
Yeah, I've just started to lean into my strengths a little bit, which is, putting the bat on the ball. I kind of tried to work the count a little bit and maybe try to draw some walks and hit for more power, and that's just, not really my game. So, over the last couple of years, I've learned to just, make it really hard on opposing pitchers with, my ability to get hits on pitchers' pitches, and, I've just really been more aggressive. 4 rows back on your left, guys. Annie?
Ernie, can you expand a little bit more on what that was like mentally? Because I know a lot of players go through that, trying to figure out who they are and being able to find out who you are and really lean into that. What was that like?
Yeah, I've learned from all my failures, and I've had quite a few of those failures. So, it's difficult in the moment when you're not getting the results you want. But I stayed positive and stayed confident and just really trusted my ability and my love for the game. 3rd row on your right, guys. Tyler.
For either one or both of you guys, obviously it's really hard to hit now in baseball, but the Blue Jays had more hits than any other team. So what is it besides the talent? You guys obviously talented in terms of the approach or that allows you to get so many hits in this era?
You want to go or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
I just think it's all 9 guys in the lineup trusting the guy behind him, and there's not one guy that's trying to do too much. Obviously, Vladdy's had a pretty darn good postseason, but it's been 1 through 9 and 1 through 13 on the position player side. So I think it's just trusting the guy behind you and not trying to do too much and keeping it really simple. And it's been a different guy every day, so it's cool to be a part of. Addison. I mean, you don't have to go up there and try to hit a home run every at bat. It's just try to get on base for the guy behind you. Yeah. Well, he tries to hit a home run every time, but he swings harder than anybody. But no, it's each guy just staying within themselves and us being a real team offense instead of just one guy hitting a home run every time.
Addison, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I would attribute a lot of our success to our hitting coaches too. We have a great staff behind us, and they have a really good idea of what each pitcher is going to do to us, and they give us a good plan and approach every at bat.
We'll go to our left with Brian.
You mentioned Vladdy having a really great postseason. What's it like for you guys to watch him behind the scenes and just see what goes into that every day?
Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch. It makes our job easy. We just got to get on base for him. But he's a special player, special talent, an awesome guy to be around. So, he's earned every bit of success that he's having. And, I couldn't be happier for him. Just really proud of the work he's put in. And to do it on the biggest stage is it's a testament to his work.
We'll go to Ben, to your left, guys.
Hey guys, question for both of you. In Toronto, obviously, it was a tougher time for the offense, and then in the last couple games, you guys have really gone off. Any way to explain that? Is it just baseball? Is there something that you guys see that's been different?
I think it's just the highs and lows of the game that we play. It's just weathering the storm, and sometimes balls aren't going to fall, and sometimes you're just going to get 15 hits in a game. So. It's finding different ways to win, and even when you don't have your best stuff, you still got to find a way to win. So, whether we have 15 hits or 2 hits, I think this team can win a baseball game either way. So, it's just about any given day, just trying to find a way to win.
Go to Alejandro up front.
Ernie, what has it been to you to play along with Andres Jimenez on defense on that side of the infield? What have you learned from him, and what has it meant for you guys these last couple of days, what he's done in this series?
Yeah, it's funny. He's been my favorite guy to watch on defense since I played against him in Double-A. He was playing in Binghamton. I was playing with Akron, and I watched him take ground balls at shortstop, and I was blown away with just how smooth it was. And the more I watched him play, I realized how good mentally he was. With his internal clock is really special, and it's been so fun playing alongside him now. I'm just blown away every day watching him play defense. It's special, and to me, he's just clearly the best defender in baseball. So it's been awesome.
Go to Lindsay in the third row on your left, guys.
Sorry, Addison, another one for Ernie. I know we're living in the moment and for today's game, but Ernie, I just want to rewind yesterday to the mound visit with Schneider and Max. Your facial reaction kind of went viral, smile. What was it like being a part of that moment and being around Max?
I've been kind of waiting for that all year. I've seen it on TV and just from watching baseball over the last 15 years or whatever. He's so fired up and wants to be out there and wants to kick your ass. So to be on that side of it, like I've been kind of waiting for that all season. So it was so fun to be a part of, and I couldn't help but laugh. It's just so funny because after he comes out, it's he kind of flips the switch and goes back to being that fun-loving jokester, and it's like he's got two personalities. It's hysterical. So I was really happy for him to get that job done.
Go to David on your right, guys.
For both of you guys, you play multiple positions. At what point is it just baseball instincts taking over, or what do you do to stay sharp at all your different positions? Addison, you can start.
Yeah, sure. I think it's just about preparing before the game. Obviously, if I know I'm at third base, I'll take reps at third, or if I'm in the outfield, I'll take reps in the outfield. It begins to get tough when I'm, spending a month or two at one position, and then you get thrown back out in the outfield, for example. But I would say a lot of it's baseball instinct and just kind of trusting the work you've done over the year, whether whether you're playing there consistently or not. But it's a little bit more work, but you just got to spend time in both positions.
Early on, when the bats weren't red hot, April and May, and you guys were kind of around 500, how important was the team defense to just kind of keep you guys afloat early in the season?
I think it goes back to us just trying to find different ways to win baseball games. You're not going to get 15 hits every game. You're not going to score 10 runs. So, preventing runs is huge. Great pitching has helped us all season. So, I just think you go day by day, and when the pitching's on, you just got to scratch one or two across, and when the bats are on, you can kind of lean into that. So it's just it's multidimensional.
Stay there with Tyler. Ernie, Josh Naylor was saying last night he's a big fan of yours, and he didn't like having to bump into you last night. But what is it about Josh's game, that goes beyond kind of the numbers? Because it seems like there's a lot more to him than just the stat sheet.
Yeah, it's like getting hit with a freight train when he's coming in. But he plays the game so hard, and I like getting hit around a little bit. It reminds me of my hockey days. But he is such a special player. I learned so much watching him play, and to me he reminds me a lot of Vladdy. He's a guy with a ton of power, but he just is such a advanced hitter in his approach, and he has the 40 home run power, but he just goes up there and he can hit a little single the other way or do some damage. So he's just so his approach is just so advanced, and he knows the game really, really well. He's got some of the best instincts I've ever seen on a baseball field, and a guy who's second percentile in speed has 30 stolen bases. That doesn't happen unless you know the game inside and out. And he's one of my favorite players in baseball. Not even just because I played with him and he's a great guy, but I just love the instincts he plays with.
Third row on your left, guys. Ben.
Hey guys, broadly, as you've gone through this playoff experience and played this deep into October, Is it what you expected, or has anything about this experience surprised either one of you guys?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of how I expected it. I mean, definitely the crowd's more involved and more energetic, and you feel it on every pitch. And you know, that adrenaline for us just kind of takes over, even though it's game one, whatever for us. You know, we're all beat up and tired, but that the fans and their energy they bring every day kind of carries us through the games for sure.
Anything else for Addison or Ernie? All right, guys. Thanks so much for making the time. Appreciate
Awesome. Thank you.
it. John Schneider will be in at 12:30.
Thanks, Addison.
Thanks, Ernie. Good to see you, man.
You made it interesting point how every pitch is not last night is a splitter. He was trying to make the argument. There's a there's a fourth ball.
Fourth ball, yeah.
He's like the lower spin should be called a fourth ball. Like Gilbert has a low spin, you know. That should be a fourth ball.
Yeah, they just don't use that term.
They just don't use it.
And
Of
we
course,
had-
Rob's pitching.
Right.
That was weird.
Oh, yeah.
Like this.
But yeah, when the Yankees had Contreras, his football stuff was back and it's slower.
Right.
Whereas
Right,
the
football be wider.
Right. Whereas most of those guys in the Yankees are shooters, and those out further on the fingers.
Yeah.
Over here, they stopped coming. This guy there.
Yeah.
They never stopped.
Well, that's
Japanese kept going over the so now we're American. Finally got come back.
Yeah, but was there a couple guys you remember who got in here and they were scared everybody?
Suter, Pepper, his career, like Scott, last all that one. Gowan and last one.
One of Bill Ryan's on the out. Like 8 of them. Just trashes. This guy. Say he was the most talented pitcher I've ever seen. No doubt.
We had pretty good work out here.
Yeah. I mean, Clement at the end was basically just a fastball splitter, right? Yeah. Chilling was too split.
But yeah, it was a good game. 86, 87, 86 even happened. And then he talked to Scott and then.
Yeah, well, it was his fastball curveball.
Yeah, slider.
Watch that 20 strikeout game. One, I should remember. Right there, the first one. The first one, yeah, the first one.
Second one, he got split in Detroit. That was against the Mariners.
It was, I remember in high school and watching that game.
A lot of good 80s Mariners.
That Mariners team, that April, 86. Even though
Not a bad lineup.
No, they were in, go look at their box scores.
Yeah.
They were in this unbelievable strikeout slump.
Really?
Oh, it was crazy.
I mean, they had representative stuff like.
Yeah, they had Alvin Davis, Phil Bradley, Cat Phillips.
Eddie Henderson,
Right.
and then Harold was there.
Harold. Yeah, that was kind of first full Yeah. They had
Allen, Steve Davis.
I gotta look it up now that I.
Like Orr was pretty good.
Should have been a better team. That. Yeah. Dick Williams came in. Big just got a bad start. Here's the stretch. Look at 18 against Oakland. 16, 11, 8, 12. Wow. I think that's still, I think that is still the record. That was Bruce Hurst. I think that's still the record for back-to-back even.
Wow. Well, the Braves had a sequence where they struck out, I think 18 times against bench sheets, and in the next game, they got a perfect game by Rand.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think strikeouts yet.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't. Well, it have to be. I mean, yeah, 18. 36 in 2 games is no joke.
That is no joke.
Because bench sheet strikes out 18. The break there after Randy would have stricken 8.
Oh, Ivan Calderon was up there? Calderon, yeah, I forgot. Should have been a great player.
Or it's a home run.
It's not a bad lineup. Alvin Davis didn't play that night, but.
It was there. Clemens was losing that game for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, because, Norman Thomas hit a home run. Steve Lyons.
Love that. Love it.
aider à Montréal? Oui. Oui. Et vous? Italie. Je suis italien-américain. D'origine italienne. Je parle fluent plus. Oui, un peu. Espagnol, italien. So, oui, l'année est très simple. Mon frère a une petite origine du monde pas Michigan, Michigan, d'origine Québec, aussi anglais. Canada jouait à Portugal. Comme Edouard Julius, à l'Européenne. On peut jouer à la prochaine. Portugal.
Savage at 3 starts in the regular season. He's at 2. This will be his 6th.
So which point did you take one? Was it next week? Sounds. Right, plus 3. Bang each. Was good. Siamese defense. Not. It's good, but they go. Did you book it before? I thought I was
Good. That's what we did there. 11:55. Director.
It's your flight.
Do they like sit back, entertain?
Yeah. Oh, now I like what it was. My first like what it wasn't.
I don't know, you and Minnie.
Yeah. So not the TV. No. There wasn't the second one. There's Wi-Fi.
Where? The 2-2.
The way to mini I was. And then Seattle.
That's the same.
Good. Good. 3 minutes before John Schneider comes in. Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll get started with Schneids. Who has the first question? We'll start with John in the third row. Schneids.
Morning, John, or afternoon. When you look at managing the bullpen over a 7-game series, what are the things that you've kind of picked up on the longer series versus the 5-game, and kind of what's the state of the Jays bullpen right now?
Yeah, it's different for sure. I think based off of Game 3 and yesterday, had a chance to get a lot of guys in, save some leverage guys a little bit. Trying to, we still got some guys with some length too. When you got Chris and Eric down there as well, which is kind of the thinking when the series starts. So we're in a good spot. Everyone's available today, which is kind of where you want to land with the off day tomorrow. So starters play a big part, obviously, with Shane and Max doing what they did. So we're in a good spot, and you can kind of pick and choose.
And with Kevin and the split, how unique of a pitch is it? Well, you could talk about command, but obviously you want the thing to move as much as possible. So how does that look to you from the manager's chair?
It's I feel like the split is the the pitch of the postseason. It seems like Kev's got a unique one. I think it can be almost like a changeup at times. It can be one that is more for swing and miss. The key is just carrying the zone. You know what I mean? If you have to keep it in the zone enough for it to be a weapon. So where guys can't just eliminate it for being a strike. So it's unique for sure. You never really know where it's going to go off the bat. We've kind of battled our positioning equation with Kev since he's been here. But you never really know where it's going to go off the bat. He can get a lot of weak contact, a lot of weird swings. So main thing is just kind of carrying the zone as much as you can with it.
The second row, Mike.
With Hoffman last night in the 8th, was that to get him against the top of the order?
He hadn't pitched in quite a while. I think just in that spot, yeah, score dependent a little bit if it had been a little bit different, but the initial plan was to have Louis go back out with his quick 7th inning and then kind of have Hoff behind him, but trying to vary up our looks with who sees who as best you can over a 7-game series. But at the end of the day, you want, as much as you can, you want your best guys versus their best guys, and they got to go out and execute.
And
talking earlier about the Barger base running thing, you said that Carlos had a conversation with him, and when does that happen? Like right after that half inning, or is that a wait till after the game to talk about things?
Depends on the guy. Depends on the situation, really. That one kind of happened in real time, and thankfully it didn't come back to hurt us. It's base running is such a huge part of the game, and you look at the throw he made to get Naylor at third to kind of squash that inning, picking off the runner at first. It changes momentum. And like anything, man, whether it's me or players, you got to learn from things and you got to get better from them. So every situation is a little bit different.
Go to Gregor in the third row.
John, Savage was probably a natural choice for you for Game 6. The last start was kind of one of the first times he's faced a bit of adversity at this level. What is it about him that kind of makes you think he's going to bounce back?
Kind of what he's done all year. We've asked a lot of him. I feel like his last 3 starts in the big leagues have been pretty big games, and he's responded well. So it's you kind of lose sight of the fact that he's 22. And you bring him up with 12 days left in the season, and you're not asking him to just get his feet wet. You're asking him to go win games. So he's stepped up to the challenge. I think that every time I've said this before, every time I've told him, hey, here's when you're pitching, the reaction is exactly what you want to hear. So confident that I think his outing too, with the 3-run homer in the first on a hanging split, I thought he threw the ball fine, to be honest with you, and I thought he made some good adjustments along the way. So you kind of couple those two things together, and it's a pretty easy choice.
And then the Santander news yesterday. I mean, he worked so hard to kind of get back to this point. How frustrating is that for him and for you guys that he had to go out like that?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel bad for him, right? First year of a 5-year deal, and, didn't go the way he wanted, the way we had hoped, all that kind of stuff. And give him all the credit in the world for fighting back the way he did to try to get back and help us, and just physically just didn't happen. So he was disappointed. We're disappointed. He understands that we're at the point where we can't play guys short, and it obviously affects the next round if you move on. But you got to do what's right for everyone, really, and ultimately what's right for Tony. And didn't really feel confident about putting him out there with how he was feeling.
A bit to your left, John. Mitch.
Ernie's been kind of a constant for you guys the whole season, but you look up and he's almost hitting 500 in the ALCS. Like, what, aside from the obvious, he makes consistent contact, what is he doing that's allowing him to be so successful right now?
I think he's got a lot of confidence, for one. And, this has kind of been a year where I think Ernie is not just shown himself, but he's shown the whole league that he's a damn good major league player. And, you get into these condensed series and everyone knows how aggressive he is at the plate. So how are you going to counteract that? It's laying off some pitches, but not trying to do anything you haven't done all year. He's taken good swings. I think when you get to this point too, like, contact is important against really good pitching. And I think he's kind of just putting a good approach with his skill set, which is making contact. So it's he's part of the heart and soul of this team.
And then Miller, in his first start, kind of his velo's a little higher than maybe you would have expected. The stuff was moving a little more. How, in your kind of pre-planning for a start, do you plan for like potential variations in a guy's stuff, it being maybe a little better than you would even expect?
Yeah, I think you plan for that or the other, and you kind of have to see what it's like. Again, I think it'll be interesting to see how he approaches our lineup. He definitely deviated a little bit and went to some secondary stuff, I think third time through the order against us, and you have to be aware of that, but you also have to take your normal approach against him, So he's, again, man, they run out some power arms, starters and relievers. So I don't think our approach changes. I think you have to kind of be ready to pivot as the game unfolds.
Go back to John in the third row.
John, I was looking at the roster last night, and just the thought occurred to me that, wow, there's a lot of guys on the field for you right now that were not on this team when the season ended last year.
Yeah.
And I wonder, could you just speak to the evolution of some important signings, some trades? They were in the offseason, they were also in July, and just how this group all came together.
Yeah, it's such a interesting, cool group of characters, you know. I think, you know, looking back to last year, I think it was important for guys like Joey, like Addie, guys that aren't here now that contributed, you know, this year to get some exposure to the big leagues last year and to learn. Even Ernie, you know, Davis Schneider, you put those guys in that category a little bit. That experience was really good for them. So you go into the offseason and you say, okay, how can we get better on paper? You sign Tony. The trade for him to me was huge. You know, that happened early. And it just, I think we said, okay, we need to add baseball players. We're going to lean into contact. We're going to continue to lean into defense. So you do that. You sign Max, and it's cool. You know, like small pickups like Miles Straw too. Like, I know that goes under the radar, and it's around the time we're chasing, you know, Sasaki, and what he's meant to this club has been huge. And I think once we kind of got rolling and understood the personality of this team, then it came down to, okay, who do we want to add, or what do we need to add? But I give a whole lot of credit to Ross and the group for targeting people too. You know, like what's going to fit into our environment. You know, a small ad like Ty France, being able to pick Izzy up on waivers. You know, you look at it, it doesn't make a ton of sense, right, from a roster construction standpoint. You got Bo, you got Ernie, you got Hemi. So where does he fit? But at that point, just saying, okay, we want baseball players. And they've all been phenomenal. Louis Varland, Sir Anthony, just guys that kind of get it. You know what I mean? So to add to Vlad and George and Varsh and Kirky and Bo, it's been a really cool mix of people, not just players. And the guys really have taken to everyone that has come into the team.
Go to Mike in the second row.
It's back to the discussion about Ernie. I've heard a few of your players say that he's the best athlete on the team. He's a guy who, you know, got given up on by a couple of teams and has had to really fight. What's your idea of that assessment?
Well, if you watch him golf, you probably say he's the best athlete we have. Scratch golfer. He's helped me take some money off some guys' hands, and we're partnering together over the year. But he's an athlete, and I think it shows when he's playing defense for sure. When he's running the bases, when he's hitting, you know, you can put him anywhere, you know, on the field, and he'll figure it out. And I think that's very, very fair. You know, he's got. You know, he can play hockey, he can play golf, he can play basketball. I mean, he's very, very gifted. You know, even little things like the tag play at third. I think there's some third basemen that don't make a tag and get out of the way of that slide. You know what I mean? So he's got a very savvy way of controlling his body and putting himself in positions to just help. You know, but he's always been that way. I think you're just kind of seeing a guy that is just kind of finding his own style at this level.
Go to Annie in the back, John.
With your offensive identity, it seems like the bottom of the lineup is really crucial to making things click. Has that been something that's evolved over the year with that buy-in from those guys, or has that been something from the start?
It's what we had hoped for, you know, when you kind of roll out a lineup and you try to put guys in spots to help us score. They've been consistent as hell all year. You know what I mean? It's been so many guys, you know, Hemi, Ernie, Tyler Heineman, Miles, Lukey's been down there. It's kind of cool that it's helped us the last two games because it's been like that the whole year. And we talk a lot about 9-on-1, you know, and how can everyone do their part to try to be the starter. And everyone's job is a little bit different, you know. So not being afraid to bunt, work a walk, get a guy over, get the big hit. They've kind of leaned into it, you know, and I think kind of our star players or guys that are at the top of the order, I think that they really enjoy it too. So it's been like that for most of the year.
Other questions for Shines? We'll finish up in the back left.
Yeah, Zick.
Good day, Schneids.
How are you, buddy?
I'm really good. Great to see you as always. I am curious to know about your decision-making process. You've got to make a million decisions a day. You have to also empower your staff and your players to do so, and your husband and father. You've got to make decisions at home with your family. How do you keep your mental toughness honed, and how do you impart that to your staff and your players?
Great question. And I think this doesn't get enough talk, because I think my job is to set a standard and to kind of set a tone in which other people can flourish. And I try to be as deliberately consistent as I can every single day, whether it's with things I do or things I say. That kind of gets pushed under the rug when you're just watching a baseball game. So I've kind of gotten to the point to where if I know that I'm deliberately consistent, my decisions will usually be deliberately consistent, and you make them and you move on from them, good or bad. As far as the coaching staff, I think that if they understand my expectations of them, they feel the freedom to work. And the coaching staff has been phenomenal this year in doing that. And I said it before Game 3, you know, there's not a group I trust more to deliver a message. I want them to have freedom to do that. I feel like they do have freedom to do that. And you try to be as prepared as you can as a baseball guy, and then you kind of just read the room. And when you make a decision, you know, it's just go, 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 and everyone has your back. So you have to be prepared. You have to trust people around you and put your best foot forward. But I think just being deliberately consistent with my actions and words has helped everyone kind of do the same.
All right, Schneids, thanks for your time. We'll see you later.
Appreciate it.
See you later.
See you, Addison.
And that concludes today's pregame.